Hello, welcome to part 2 of the mask shield. I top stitched right along the edge. The pipe cleaner is inside of it. And top stitch, I did not, I did not back stitch on either end, and my stitch length was 4 instead of 2.5. So now I'm ready to do the plastic. And this is the hardest part, I think. It's the tricky part. I'm going to take and fold over both the lining and the top fabric 1/4 of an inch and press each of them down. So I'll begin right here, and then I'm going to stop the camera and do it off camera. But I'm just folding that over 1/4 of an inch, and I'm guesstimating the 1/4 of an inch, okay? If you want to be a perfectionist and just make sure it's all 1/4 of an inch, go for it, but I'm not going to be that specific. I have taken and pressed both of those. Now I'm just going to lay them on top of each other as they are, but just look and observe. If there's a part that is not lining up exactly, like right here, the center, I can see that the lining is a little bit larger or it hangs down. I'm going to gently adjust it right now and repress that. So make sure that right now is the perfect time and the easiest time to make sure that those are going to match up really nicely. When you get the plastic in, then it is a little bit trickier and you don't want any bubbles. Now I've got them creased and pressed, and it looks like a seam, which is great, because now what I'm going to do is insert my plastic right in here. And I found the easiest way to do that is to kind of fold it in half and then to slip the plastic right inside just a little bit. What I mean by that is, notice that my plastic is already folded in half, and I'm just going to slip that right in between the top fabric and the lining fabric. And it's kind of hard to do it while I'm holding it up to the screen, so let's see. I'm going to stick it in there, and right now it is definitely not 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. It's just in there. Okay, but I'm going to fold it, and when I fold it, I can start to work with it. Remember at the beginning I said I didn't pin the plastic down when I cut it? Well, now I have to, because if I don't pin it, there's no way that I'm going to get a nice 3-layer stitch right where I want it. So I'm going to start pinning, and I'm starting from the center. And I'm just going to pin all 3 layers together right here. I have just placed the plastic in about 1/4 of an inch, maybe just a little bit more. And then I'm going to work it around. I will show you that, because this is, like I said, the tricky part. I've got that first one pinned, and I'm just going to gently kind of follow it down, keeping both the fabric lined up and making sure that the plastic is inside or sandwiched in between just a little bit. And then I'm going to pin. I'm going to continue working my way down just to make sure you can kind of bend that plastic in. Now, because I know, oops, that was weird. I know that my fabric should line up because it was lined up before. So I'll make sure that those edges are lined up. And I've got to put this down. I don't know if you can see it as well, but it's not working for me up in the air. If you find that you need to stretch it a little bit, that's fine. If you find that you need to just take and pin closer together, that's another strategy that works really well for me. And anyways, so you're going to pin all of those down all the way to the end. It's okay if it goes off just a little bit. It's okay if it doesn't quite go, if the plastic doesn't quite match up to the edge. It's not going to matter. We'll resolve that later. Like I said, this is the trickiest part. I've got mine all pinned together, And it took me about 5 minutes, so you just have to work with it and be patient. And now I'm going to top stitch. Once again, top stitch. So my stitch length is 4. I'm going to just come across here. I'm actually going to go not quite a quarter. I'm going to go more like an eighth of an inch, because I'm not exactly sure how far that plastic is up inside of it or not in different places. But I'm going to do that off camera and then come right back. Okay, so I have top stitched and I've removed my pins, and you can see it just kind of holds. Looks nice. It's coming along. Awesome. All right. At this point, I do need to make sure that my plastic is matching. So if it hangs over, that it hangs over about the same amount on this side as it does from the other side, and mine actually does. Yay. Great. I'm actually just going to take my other pair of scissors and trim so it lines up right there at the edge, and also clip off this corner of the fabric as well. And that looks like so. So right there, just clip that off. Okay, I'll do that to the other side. Now it is time for our case coverings, or yeah, case cover. I don't remember, what is it called? So you have a rectangle, and it's taller, or it should be taller, and that's the direction we want. You're going to carefully do about 1/4 of an inch, fold it over, and then press it, and then press the bottom the same way. All right. All right, so I've got the bottom and the top folded over 1/4 of an inch. Now I'm going to fold it in half and press it as well. Okay, now you're going to do that to both of them, or to the other one. So they are both ready to be sewn. And you're going to take the raw edges just like it is. So you've got one side that's raw and you've got one side that's folded. You're going to take the raw edges and you're going to line them up with the edge of your shield, mask shield. And I don't want it sticking up too far, because then it'll look funky. And I don't want it sticking down too far. So I'm going to kind of make sure that it is just about centered, meaning that the edge here, it goes over just a little bit and it comes over a little bit. If yours doesn't, then that's fine. You want it to be to end about the same as the fabric does. I will pin it right here, and I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Then on the top, I am not going to top stitch. I am going to change my stitch length back to 2.5, and I'm going to back stitch, come along 1/4 of an inch, and then come down here and back stitch again. All right, and actually I'm going to do it backwards. I'm going to place it on the back side, so next to the lining. I'm going to sew it, and then I'll fold it over. Okay, so sew it to the lining, the back side. All right, so I have mine ready, and I'm going to clip on an angle just the tippy top, and the same thing down here, but this time I don't want to cut the plastic, so I'm going in between the plastic and the fabric, and I'm just clipping it towards from close to the stitch line to the edge. And when I do so, then it makes a really nice edge when I fold it over, where it doesn't stick out. So now I don't have any of my edges sticking out. All right, so I'm going to do that to the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to fold it over, because remember it's on the back side. I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to put it so that it is over the seam. I do not want that seam sticking out. So I'm going to fold it so it's just past the seam, or the stitch line on the back side, and I'm going to pin it right here, and then I'm going to go right here on the edge, and it has to be really close to the edge. So right there on the edge of my fabric, I'm going to top stitch. But this time when I top stitch, I will back stitch as well, because I don't want it to come undone. That will leave a hole right here, or a casing for my elastic to go through. Those done, they're ready. And actually, if I would, this is bothering me that this is sticking up a little bit. And so if I might choose to undo this and make so that it lines straight up along with the edge, the top edge, but we shall see. Right now I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to take one of my pieces of elastic and I'm going to place a safety pin through the top of it. And now I'm just going to thread it through that little casing. And it is a little bit stiff due to the plastic, and that's okay. You're not going very far. Okay, now when I fold it over, I'm going to fold it over on itself, and then I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch. So I folded it over itself about a half of an inch, and just in the center I'm going to do a zigzag stitch back and forth, back and forth. Make sure that when you do this, that you don't twist your elastic, because if you've twisted it now, it will be twisted. So it's flat. I've just wrap them around, keeping the same direction facing up, and then I'm going to sew that. I will do that with both of them, and then we will be done. Okay, I've got them sewn, and before you cut, or not before, you don't want to cut that. Before you slide it up through the casing so that's hidden, make sure that this fits the person just right. If you don't have that luxury, then that's fine. Just kind of, I'm going to go this way. Just pull it so that the ends go right there in your casing, and then you don't have any elastic ends that are going to bother your ear or the person who is wearing it. And then voila. So this is going to be very big on me because I have such a small face, but let me show you what it looks like with mine. See? Hope this works for you. You are welcome to use these for personal use only, and good luck with everything.